Hello, everyone. My name's Rob, and I'm with my good friend Ryan, and we are going to be doing a Big Bang Theory watch along.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I hope everybody's
Yeah,
doing well.
yeah. So I think we should probably just start by saying why we're doing this and what our why we chose Big Bang Theory, I guess, and our overall history with the Big Bang Theory as a show and how it's what we liked about it, what we don't like about it. Do you want to kick us off, Ryan?
I can start this off. This is my first time actually watching The Big Bang Theory, and everybody finds it very shocking that I haven't seen it before. I think I've seen bits and pieces here and there, but never full episodes or anything. And when we started talking about this podcast, I thought it was so cool that the show started off in 2007, right? That it's been so long and I'm able to watch it with a fresh pair of eyes and kind of reflect on it as a newcomer coming in. And you don't really get that 10 years after the fact for most shows. But also, part of what's connected me with this is that I love the idea of it. Friends hanging out, talking about geeky stuff. And not to mention that I've been a lot of dates I'd gone on have told me, Ryan, you're a lot like Sheldon. I'm like, I don't really know who that is. I never watched the
Oh
show. And
no,
so, so far, I
that's
know
not
I
a
don't have a
compliment.
favorite place, but
Well, how many episodes would you? I mean, it's hard to think about, but how many full episodes do you think that you've seen?
um, combined, I think I've probably seen one complete episode. Every now and then a friend would have one on in the background. I'd watch 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there, but no rhyme or reason or really knowing what's going on.
Okay, in your experience of all the people that have watched it, do they like it or do they not like it?
The people who've had it on have really thoroughly enjoyed it.
Okay, because
Yeah.
I'm like a mixed bag. Like I've met some people that I tell them that I watch it, and they're like, "Yeah, I watch it too." And then there's some people that I've seen that just cannot stand it, and they look at me like all cross-eyed and weird, and like, "Why would you do that to yourself? Why are you even telling me? I feel stupider for you even telling me." I'm like, "Whoa, buddy, okay."
Why would you mention that name in front of me?
Like, how dare you? And
Ta
I'm like,
ta
oh,
ta.
well, I like it. So I guess I'll just transition over to me and like I said, I'm Rob and I'm actually a really big fan of the Big Bang Theory. I've actually watched the series to completion twice. And I've actually seen when I was actually watching it on TV, I would actually I've seen the first 5 seasons more than 5, 6 times. Because when you watch something and then you get the episode, you download it or watch it on Hulu or something like that, you just keep watching it over and over again. So for
Hmm.
the first 5, 6 seasons, I've actually seen them 5 or 6 times. But then beyond that, I've only seen it twice. As soon as it came on HBO, I kind of just plowed through it once, gave it a little bit of time, and then I watched through the whole thing again.
And there's something to be said that with that. I was reading somewhere about how we're able to stream stuff, and we have these comfort shows now that we grew up with and that we've devoted years of our lives with. And so when we watch them, even though they're fake characters, it's like we are interacting with old friends, and we're comforted because we know the story, we know what's going to happen. And even though some people are like, "Oh, isn't that boring to watch the same show for a sixth time?" It's nostalgic, cathartic, very comforting.
It's like you said, it's comforting. And I remember I had this conversation with my dad a long time ago because I would tell him that I would watch certain shows over and over again,
Hmm.
and he's like, "But you already know where the jokes are. You already know what they're going to say." And I just responded, "Well, I listen to the same music over and over again. I know exactly how the chorus is going to go, yet somehow I keep listening to it over and over again. So why not with the TV show?"
Can't help but sing along when American Pie comes on, right?
Yeah,
Everybody knows the lyrics, but that's the point.
yeah. And I feel the exact same way as you. I like following a group of friends that talk about kind of nerdy things. I
Hmm.
know it can be somewhat controversial to some people. Like, we look at it as more fun. Like, okay, don't take it too serious. They're nerdy people that are socially awkward, that don't know how to like talk to the average person. They're smarter than their own good, kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. But then it's like other people like get offended by that. They're like, they're making nerds look bad and things like that. I'm like, well, it's a TV show at the end of the day. It's like you shouldn't take it too serious. And like, I don't think people are gonna find out that you're a comic book fan and then just assume that you're a Sheldon or a Howard or a Raj or something like that.
Yeah. And I don't think it's we're able to poke fun at ourselves, and I think I know I'm pretty socially awkward and I can put my foot in my mouth, and I bring up weird facts from time to time that nobody really is thinking about when we're at dinner or whatever. So I
You know what? It's part of
relate
your
to it.
charm, and that's
Yeah.
something that I liked about you.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm not going to be offended by that. I think it's nice to see that, and nice to laugh at ourselves from time to time.
Yeah. And like I said, I like all the references to comic books and movies and everything because, in my experience with TV shows, it doesn't seem like there was a lot of show. Like some shows will kind of reference like Batman or Superman here and there, but like Big Bang Theory. Not to go into spoilers. Oh, and to mention since Ryan has never actually watched this show before, I'm going to try to keep it as spoiler free as possible for you and the audience. So feel free to watch along with us, episode to episode.
I'm looking forward to all the surprises. I really know nothing of what's going to happen.
But like I was saying, like they can kind of go into kind of nerdy deep cuts with like
Mm.
social media and comic books and everything like that. So that's something that I really just liked about this show. And this show came out in 2007, so that was around the time that was actually before the MCU even started. So this was kind of I'm not gonna say it kicked it off like the nerd culture or anything like that because it didn't. It was already been there. It just kind of made it. I feel like it made it more mainstream and for me personally, it made it feel more socially acceptable to even talk about these things in public.
That's an interesting way to put it. That yeah, before the MCU, that liking Spider-Man, people are like, "Who's Spider-Man?" And now, I don't know, maybe they know the Tobey Maguire movies or something.
Or the
But
Andrew Garfield, but actually, no, wait. When did the Andrew Garfield ones come out? It came out
I,
after, I think,
I think like right around that time, right? Maybe right after
because I know
the
Iron Man came out in 2008, a year
2000.
after.
Interesting. So it must have been around the same time. I'd have to look that up.
Yeah,
Yeah. But yeah, it
but
makes it
yeah,
more acceptable to talk about it. People, when you see popular shows talking about something, it's not just more discuss. You're not able to just talk about it, but other people get more interested in it too. It builds that interest,
yeah,
and
you can embrace it a lot more. Like
exactly.
these days, I see so many people wearing comic book T-shirts now. People like Marvel all over them, DC, Batman everywhere. It's pretty cool.
Punisher logos, those were everywhere before.
Oh yeah. People just didn't say it was Punisher. It's just a cool skull.
It's a skull. I remember when I was a kid, people wearing the Venom shirt, and I had
Mm.
no idea who Venom was. I'm like, why are they wearing that weird spider
It,
thing?
it
Like,
was funny because at the time that was a deep cut, and now it's like everywhere. Everyone knows
yeah,
what Venom is or who Venom is. It's like, but back in the day, I love Venom. That he was actually one of the first comic. I remember going comic book to comic book shop in like the fifth grade, looking for a specific arc. It was the Lethal Enforcer arc, and because I had like two of the six comics, and I was like desperately trying hard to find them. And I know I'm going on like a little, I'm derailing a little bit, but this is a fun story. But a couple of years ago, I finally went to my first Comic Con in Chicago with my friend
uh,
Ashley, and we were actually able to find the missing pieces of my of that arc.
after all these years,
I
I've
finally
hunted
have
you
you.
down.
You're mine.
My-
And now I'm going to store you away and never read you.
I hope you like the dark. Yeah.
But yeah, pretty much we're both fans of like nerdy things. We both have some. I've enjoyed the show. I guess Ryan, we'll see if you still enjoy the show
By
after
the end
we
of
keep
it.
rewatching this. Um, so on that note, a little bit of facts about this show, about its popularity, to kind of like combat the naysayers of this show. Um, you can't you can't fight that this was a popular show. It survived 12 seasons, 279 episodes, and I emphasize that because some people might say it's 280, but I think that 280th episode is actually the lost pilot.
Oh.
So 279 official episodes, 55 total awards in the course of its run. That's kind of amongst every type of award possible. 55 total. So yeah, this was actually a really popular show, whether people liked it or not.
One spin-off, right? Young
Yes,
Sheldon,
Young
right?
Sheldon, which I actually have started to watch. I actually watched last year. I'm like 3 seasons into it.
Huh? Once we get done with
Well,
this, we can do a watch along with that then.
yeah, maybe we'll have to we'll have to gauge your interest.
Yeah, see,
We'll talk more about it later, but let's like dive more into Big Bang Theory, and then we'll kind of introduce you into that, since you
yeah.
don't really know anything.
If by that time I'm hating this show, it might not be. No, I'm not doing
Well, I know.
it.
We'll see if we survive the first season.
Yeah.
So, what are you hoping to expect out of this podcast?
I'm looking forward to having some great conversations, hanging out with my friends, and you know, um, being able to talk about a show that I've never seen and see how I actually connect with it. Again, with all the people calling me Sheldon, I figure, do I really think I'm a Sheldon?
I know you might. Ugh, you might. I don't know how you're gonna feel about that after the first season. The next time you go on a date and someone says that, they might you might just storm out of there.
And you're saying the popularity, like it's not even people from America. I think I have friends from other countries around the world.
Called you a Sheldon?
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't even know you had this show in your country.
Oh my god! All right. Well, what do you say? How about we dive into the first episode?
I'm game. I'm game.
All right. So today we're talking episode 1, which is the pilot episode. It aired September 24th, 2007, written by Chuck Lorre and Bill Prady, who are both the creators, and directed by James Burrows. So if
That
you're up for it, how do you feel about giving the audience a little bit like a 2 sentence summary?
I think pilot serves it well. It introduces everybody. It yeah, introduction to characters, boy meets girl, and sets up a romance. Possible
Yep.
romance, right?
Yep. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yep. That Raj and Howard are going to have quite the romance. All right. So let's get started. Opening. We meet Sheldon and Leonard. And Leonard instantly solves the receptionist crossword puzzle. And they are at a high IQ sperm bank. And of
it,
course, we have our classic sassy receptionist being a little snarky, but if someone solved my crossword puzzle instantly, I'd be a little snarky too.
yeah, and she's probably dealing with all these socially awkward high IQ guys all day, so she knows how to deal with them, right?
Oh yeah, with some classic snark.
Snark
Yep,
all the
that's
way.
how I get through my life too.
Yeah, I need the snark.
So they are there because they are trying to earn a little bit more cash for a better cable box, specifically fractional T1.
That's what T1 is internet speed, right?
I did a little bit of a deep dive on this one just to
Yeah.
kind of learn more. I've heard that term before, and I knew that it was fast. I knew it was great, but I never really questioned it. I remember my brother would kind of tell me about it here and there, and I'd be like, "Okay, that's
Uh,
cool."
remember back in the days when Napster was in
DSL,
its
yeah,
original form, like this is before LimeWire or what other ones there were, but
Shazam, Kazam, was
Kazam,
it? It was,
one of those
yeah,
Zams.
yeah. I'm
Na-
pretty sure I used them all.
Napster was like the original, and it would have you put in your internet speed, and mine at the time, like because it's all anybody had anywhere I live, was 56K, which was absolute garbage, right?
Oh
Somebody picks up the
yeah,
phone and you get
dial
disconnected,
up.
and
Yeah.
then like there's like people with DSL or cable, and then they had like the T1 internet speeds, and like 90% of people said they had T1. So I was always like, there's a lot of liars out there, because I don't believe 90% of the people in the US have T1, especially when me and my friends are all stuck with 56K.
Yeah, so I did a little bit of deep dive of what it is and how much it actually is,
Yeah.
and I was wondering, I was like, huh, they need extra money to pay for this. Granted, it's 2007, so I'm trying to remember how much I paid for internet, and it's more or less the exact same. So arcade, like even right, like back in the just a few years ago, before I moved to the boonies and I got monopolized by a certain, I won't say where I am, but I got monopolized by an internet company. So right now I'm spending about like $90 a month for, I chose a pretty good speed for it. Back in when I was where you were, I was paying, I got a really good deal at $30 a month. So I was like, man, how much is T1 then? So I did a little bit of research, and it could be upwards of $250 a month.
Ooh, that's a
It's
little
like,
pricey.
yeah, it's like, okay, for $250 a month, what are you really getting? And
What's that
then,
max out at? Yeah.
okay, I didn't die. Okay, okay, I lied. I didn't do a deep dive. I did more of a medium dive.
Surface dive.
I was waiting around, in the waters.
Yeah.
So I know that there's a lot of pros and cons for both of them, but like cable is cheaper and it's more accessible, but then apparently T1 is more reliable because it has specifically reserved circuits for
Mm,
their connection, whereas cable you actually have to share bandwidth.
with everybody like in the neighborhood type thing.
Yeah,
Ah.
yeah. I don't know. Someone will correct us. Someone.
Yeah. And they
Maybe I'll do a
should.
deeper dive. Maybe I'll actually go into the deep end, but it didn't seem worth it for this first episode. Sorry, everyone.
I didn't realize that was going to be a part of the conversation. I thought it was just a side detail.
Yeah.
But we're all
Oh,
interested. T1.
yeah. So let's go on about T1. So
Were we watching a show? I don't know.
yeah, so I'm going to break down facts that they give. Oh, I forgot to mention on this of like one of the reasons why I wanted to do this podcast too. So sorry, this is very unorganized, but you know what? It's our show.
We'll be
so
unorganized if we want.
so I will say like I feel like I did learn a lot from the Big Bang Theory because just in the script overall, they kind of throw out like little facts here and there, just like little throwaway lines, but they're a fact. Well, according to the show and the script. So it always got me wondering, like, is that true? Like they'll say something and then I'll be like, huh, is that true? And I never really, some of them I researched, some of them I didn't, but I wanted to use this as an opportunity to kind of research a little bit of the things that they say and the things that they talk about. So I have a lot of notes on topics. So you're in for a surprise, Ryan.
It's for a lot of surface diving.
Yep.
So they're in the sperm bank, and they're filling out the applications, right?
Yes.
And they decide, Sheldon decides that it's unethical to go through with it.
Yep. It's because he doesn't think that he feels that he's deceiving people by saying that his high IQ sperm or his sperm from his high IQ ness will actually produce offspring that are high IQ. Did a little research on that too. I
What did
have
you
a
come up
little
with?
I have a little bit of research on high IQ sperm banks and if high IQ can be passed down genetically. So, if we want to start with the high IQ passing genetically, I'm just going to make this short and say it's not it. He's correct.
He's
It's
correct.
pretty much 50, like studies have shown that it's 50-50, which is 50% is a fail. So,
Yeah, when you're paying top dollar for that IQ sperm, you want more than a 50-50, right?
so in terms of IQ, it's not true.
It's not
Like
true.
a high IQ sperm will potentially not produce a high IQ offspring.
Hmm. Well, it's like if you get two people with blue eyes and brown eyes, you're not going to necessarily get blue eyes in a child, right?
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
kind
so
of 50-50.
recessive is 50
Like that's
50.
something that we're kind of like learning about DNA and how it's passed on. That it's kind of just, lack of a better word, it's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah. And he mentions that his sister, right, is not very bright.
Yep.
So she got the other 50%. He got the smart 50%.
Yep. So they're at a high IQ sperm bank. And in my actual deep dive, I found out that there was a high IQ sperm bank that like a while ago. It was from where it lasted from 1980 to 1999. It was the Robert K. Graham, or that the creator of this high IQ sperm bank's name was Robert K. Graham. He was the creator of the shatterproof eyeglasses. So
Hmm.
that's where he kind of got all of his money from. Um, well, he founded what was called the Repository for Germinal Choice, and it was in 1980 and operated through 1999, 2 years after his death. So his goal was that he wanted to improve the human gene pool. So in order to do that, he actually made it really cheap. So it only
Oh.
costed $50 for an application fee and $10 a month for storage and shipping. That's kind of like what most of the articles kind of talked about. But for anybody else who wants to actually go even deeper into this one, there was actually a much darker history of this high IQ sperm bank in terms of like racism, sexism.
I was going to say, it seems like that could go off the deep end there pretty easily. Like, what do we think is the most best
Yeah,
sperm,
how they
right?
chose them, who they chose, everything like that. So, yeah, I didn't want to go too deep into that just because I didn't want to make this a downer episode.
Well, what I really have to wonder is if it's only like $50 application fee and $10 a store, could they really get enough for a T1 internet connection by donating? It seems like they'd be getting like quarters on the deposit or whatever. Yeah, deposit. There we go.
Yeah, actually, they really don't earn that much. On average, donors earn about $100 to $150 per donation.
Huh.
So who knows what they're asking for, like the high IQ one. But in the research that I did, there really wasn't that much of a filter.
So with
Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that, but my dog is going crazy in the background.
oh yeah, a little bit.
Sorry, sorry
It's gonna
everyone.
happen.
Yeah,
You
but
know, with T1 being $250 a month, really they're looking at maybe just a month's worth or two.
I know.
You repeat donators, I guess.
But I didn't. I mean, there was a lot of information out there, but I've never donated sperm before. Maybe someone can like assist us on the information on this. But apparently, a lot of these sperm banks ask the donor to continuously come back at once a week.
Oh,
So it's like they're trying to like constantly like get fresh ones or
repeat guess.
yeah. So potentially, if both of them are there, and if it's on the low end, $100 per both of them, so $200 a visit
Once a
times 4
week.
weeks in a month. So yeah, I mean
That adds up, yeah.
they could get 31 if they kept doing it.
So
So
he feels bad, right? And
yeah,
they decide, okay, and I like this too because it immediately as much bad press as Sheldon gets, as being the eccentric one, I guess maybe that's the way to say it. He does have a heart too. He does have a conscience, so he might be awkward, but he's not a bad person. And they talk about leaving, and they don't know how to leave. They don't know how to say goodbye, right?
yeah,
And I relate to this because being at a party or at a dinner, it's like okay, or even like just meeting somebody on the street and you're talking to them, and in my mind I'm like, how do I say goodbye? Do I just walk away or like what?
so what do I do
What do
here?
I
Do I
do?
just like do I start a timer? Do I need to like how long do I actually have to talk to you?
Am I stuck here for the rest of eternity? Like how do we say goodbye?
Is that why you awkwardly slink away every time we talk?
Exactly. And I thought that was going to be an awkward explanation,
Oh,
but
I get it now. Oh, all
it
right.
makes sense.
Well, okay. Back to the sperm bank. One last thing before we move on, because we've talked about sperm enough. But I
Have
actually
we?
found a website where there actually is a scientist from Caltech, and Caltech is actually the university that they work for. But anyways, there is a scientist from Caltech giving away his sperm for free, and he actually has a website called scientistdonor.com.
Well, that's very generous of him.
Yeah, I was like, when I
Scientist
found
donor.
that site, I was like, is this real? Oh my god!
For the show,
it
we're gonna order some. No, we.
it. You know what? Maybe if we ever get funded. Actually, wait, it's free. I could order it now anyways. But enough about sperm.
No.
Let's move on. So now they go home. So now they're on the stairwell and they're walking up the stairs. And the first thing that I want, that fun fact that I talk about, or your IQ points, as we talked about, is
The IQ point.
Sheldon says that if a height of a step is off by as little as 2 millimeters, a person will trip. Kind of shocking, right? Like 2 millimeters.
And then he says, Leonard says, "Is this true?" And he goes, "Well, I did my own research, right?"
Yeah.
And so I don't know. Although what I can say is I was thinking about this, and at my family's cabin, our stairs are not up to standard code. They are quite short. Like it's hard to get my whole foot even on one of them, and they go up pretty steeply.
For any inspectors, he totally fixed that though.
Yeah.
Totally fixed that.
It's grandfather claused in. We got it.
Oh,
It's there. And we don't have to change it. If we alter it, then we do. But it's I've never tripped on them, but I've known a couple people take a few rides down the stairs,
okay.
going down. So it does, because you're thinking that you have just like a little bit more space to step on, or that you're going down just a little less than you are, and it does mess with the mind.
And that is actually true.
Mm.
From the research that I did, that there was actually a court case that argued this exact same thing.
Huh.
So there was an engineering expert that actually had to testify for this, since a tenant in a building like tripped on it and hurt themselves. So then they actually inspected the stairs and they were off by a little bit, so it wasn't up to code.
It wasn't just the
So
standard.
so the quote from the engineering expert said, well, a quote from the article. Essentially, he explained that after we take the first couple of steps, our brain will automatically learn and record the distance we need to extend our foot in order to reach the next step. Each subsequent step should be almost precisely the same distance away. If not, a tripping hazard is created when the height of one step is not uniform with the height of the others that have just been recorded by our brain.
Oh, so
So
we're
our
like
brains do tell us this.
subconsciously telling us what to expect, and I guess that explains it too. Why, if you're walking down the stairs in the dark and there's either another step, or you're expecting another step and you're on flat surface. I'm not sure if you've ever had that happen, but it like jars your whole body. Like you don't know what just happened, and your head's kind of spinning.
Yep. I've been
Very
there.
because your brain's like, "Hey, we still have another step, and it's got to be exactly this many millimeters."
Yep. 2 millimeters. 1 millimeter ain't gonna do shit.
It's not gonna count. I also like this scene because it's introducing the elevator, and this is the only thing I really know anything about in the show. Is the elevator remains broken through most of it?
I'm not gonna spoil
Not going to
anything, but
spoil it.
but
Okay, I
yes,
just
it is an ongoing part of the storyline that elevator is broken.
it's broken elevator.
Yep.
And so they're walking up the stairs. They talk about that, and they see a new woman moving in next door.
They meet Penny.
They meet Penny.
Yep. Good old Penny. So they exchange. They meet each other. They chat. Everything is just great, great,
It flows
and
very
great.
smoothly. It's great.
So smooth that she didn't look happy to close the door on them. And of course, they want to be. Well, Leonard wants to be a good neighbor
Mm.
and invite her over for dinner or
Very
lunch.
selfless. Very
So selfless.
selfless.
He wants to be a good neighbor. I mean, have you
Yeah.
ever been a good neighbor?
I have never been a good neighbor.
I have
I'm probably a
never been a good
terrible
neighbor.
neighbor.
Nope. Nope. So then a fun MySpace reference for any youngins out there. MySpace was a social networking website. It came around just after Friendster. If you're Asian like me, there was Zanga. What was before that? Anything? Probably something.
I don't know. I just I kind of started learning about social media with MySpace. And everybody was programming, learning HTML to set up their pages.
Yep. That's one thing that I really loved about MySpace was that it was actually very customizable.
Mm-hmm.
You could add a song, you could add a background, and everything like that.
That was the big thing, is having a song in the background. That this song defines me as a human being right now, so I will
this
display
is
it for
every
everyone.
this is everything about me. And I put like the most depressing song on there because it
Always
was
so depressing.
yeah, because it was college for me, and like the world is so dark and
And I'm
college.
brooding. I'm.
Yeah, I'm brooding over this test. Ugh. This is. Do you remember what song you had?
uh, I don't. I don't think I ever finished my page. I got like invested in it, involved, and then I'm like, yeah, I don't care enough. And then
You are doing Tom a disservice.
uh,
Tom was the everyone as soon as you sign up, Tom was the creator and he automatically added you as a friend. So you would
oh,
automatically have one friend. It was
uh,
actually kind of nice.
this reminds me of that when Facebook started, they used to have like really random Top Gun quotes like on the bottom.
They did?
Yeah, like back in the day when Facebook was only available for like college students, like they would have random Top Gun quotes, and I never knew what they were until like a decade later. I'm like, does anybody remember this? And turns out
God,
like
I
they were
don't
just a
remember
fan
that.
of
I remember when it was for college students only because I remember you needed a university email
mm-hmm.
in order to sign up. And I remember I had a friend. I was so dedicated and loyal to MySpace. I didn't need Facebook. I didn't need that. So I had this friend in community college that really wanted, like, I want a Facebook. Can I just use your account then? So I was like, take it.
Take it, you can have
I don't need this. And of course, Facebook won. So I'm
it.
friendless.
But I have the remnants of my space page and my song.
My song. And the sad thing is, I forgot what number he put on there, but I'm pretty sure Sheldon has more MySpace friends than me.
Oh yeah, what was the number? It was 212, I think.
Oh, yeah, he definitely had more than me.
I made a note of that because I put 200. I'm like, wow, that's kind of a lot. But he's
Yeah,
never met any of them, right?
no.
But that's okay. I've never met most of my Facebook friends.
I feel like I scrolled through Facebook a little while ago, and like half of the people I didn't even remember. Like, you meet someone at like a party in college, and then like, add me on
Mm.
Facebook, and now it's like, who are you? Like, 15 years later, I'm like, oh my god, who are these people?
It's like
Ah.
everybody's posting. I don't know any of these people. Am I logging in my page? Like, what's going
This
on?
is my account, right? Where's Tom? Tom?
I need you, Tom.
All
So
right.
they do end up having her over for lunch.
And they convince her with this fun fact number 2: curry is a natural laxative.
Yes, I love that scene.
So awkward.
And
So awkward.
I like how it's Sheldon who's like, maybe you don't want to lead with
Yeah.
that.
Sheldon continues to be the voice of reason in this
Right?
situation. So, curry is a natural laxative. That is true. There is a
True.
compound called capacin. Cap- Capacin?
Capacin?
Capaicin.
Huh. Capacin.
Did I mention that you don't need a PhD to be in this podcast?
That's part of it. In fact, I think Tom should come and help us pronounce it.
I know.
Where's
Where you at,
Tom?
Tom? I'd like to call in a friend. Well, that compound is found in chili that helps speed up digestion.
Oh.
But then again, curry also usually has high fiber legumes, vegetables, which also enhance the digestive power of curry.
Mm. With this.
Curry powder also contains turmeric, which has
Uh,
anti-inflammatory effect as well, and cloves, which prevent constipation and heals ulcers, and ginger, which is known to prevent indigestion. And I will, at this point, let everyone know that I am not a doctor and I do not have a PhD. So
no PhDs here.
curry is not magic. It's not. It's not the potion of life. It is not the elixir.
It's not. And it's actually a random fact about Ryan. One of the only foods that I am not a fan of. And every now and then I get stuck with a curry dinner, and everybody looks at me and laughs. They always have a good laugh at me because they know I dislike curry.
Well, which kind of there are lots of types of curry out there.
Um,
So is it Indian? Is it Thai? Japanese?
there's a certain spice in it that kind of clashes with me. It's not the turmeric.
Ginger?
No.
I'm trying to think of like what's in all of them. Some sort of like chili powder?
It's something chili. I want to say it's yellow, not mustard.
And it's not turmeric. Not
It's not the
ginger.
turmeric. Not the ginger. But there's something that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Like some people who eat cilantro, right? Apparently it tastes like soap for them, and whatever this is, I taste it. I'm just like, nope.
Hmm.
This is not appetizing. I can eat it. It's just, if I'm gonna put something in my body, I want to enjoy what I'm eating.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
fair. You should eat what you want to eat.
Yeah.
Life lesson, everyone. Eat what you want to eat.
Eat what you want to eat.
Yep.
Make the MySpace page you want to make.
Yep. Add the song that you want, damn it.
Add your song.
Facebook, please let me add a song, and then you'll get me back.
Just give me my song.
All right, so now we have the opening theme, which is sung by the Bare Naked Ladies, and the song is called "The History of Everything."
I didn't know it was the Bare Naked Ladies.
Yeah.
I was
Apparently,
reminded of what's the band? They Might Be Giants, but I can see Bare Naked Ladies now.
yeah, oh man, there's these whole like YouTube videos on how they got them to do this, but apparently like the creators saw them in concert and they had this sciency song. So
Uh-huh.
then the creators actually approached them and was like, "Hey, would you be willing to do a song for us and call it The History of Everything?"
And they just got on board. They're
They
like,
just
yeah,
got
why
on board.
not?
They're like totally down with it. So it's like, cool. Yeah, killer song. Yeah.
I kind of like those sciencey songs. You learn a little something. It's catchy. Gets stuck in
You
your
actually
head.
gave me a. I remember you made me a CD once, and like you put a science on. Oh my god! It was like the sun is good.
That's the one I was thinking. They Might Be Giants. The
Oh,
why the sun burns. I think why the sun
okay.
works.
I
So
just remember the chorus. The sun is good. I'm not gonna sing it because I want to get sued.
but they apparently had some bad information in that, so they released another song correcting the science behind what they were singing. And I'm like, I
Oh,
appreciate that.
you know what? It's like a college book. It's the second edition.
Second edition, new
Yeah.
song. You love the first edition, but we grow, we learn, we get new songs for our MySpace pages. So
All
they
right.
go over and they are eating, right? They have the credits, the Might Be Giant song. It's very short, sweet. I liked it.
Hmm.
And they have, oh, what do I have in my notes? They pick up their boards of quantum mechanics, right? They just have dry erase boards setting up, right?
Yep.
And they start making fun of each other's boards a little bit.
They're fighting for attention.
Yes. And I made a note here because I really liked, they did a throwback. The show actually began with them talking about the theory of relativity, right? And was it the slit test where shooting particles through a slit of paper allows the particles to hit a certain way on the target. Yet if you are observing them, they hit in one way. If you're not observing them, they hit in a totally different way. And that is an actual experiment. Albert Einstein started that theory. But the reason I got into this is because it blows my mind. Again, no PhDs here. But Sheldon says that he discovered that there are 26 dimensions.
Oh,
And
I did not fun fact that one.
I did. I love talking about dimensions.
All
So,
right.
and Leonard responds with saying, what does he say? That where are these other dimensions, right? Because what we have is we know three dimensions: length, width and depth. And then we have the fourth dimension that kind of gets added on, which is time. And then with quantum mechanics, depending on what you look up, there are some people say 7, some people say 10 plus time, and there are research articles out there. I'm looking at one by Frank D. Smith Jr. Talking about 26 dimensions in bosonic string theory. So where
Oh,
these other dimensions are, I don't know. I don't think Sheldon thought of them or created them, but as far as
well,
that, I
string
can.
theory is like the big thing that Sheldon works on
Is
at the
that the thing?
university. Yeah,
So,
like it gets mentioned a lot, string theory, but I've never deep dived it. I've never even bothered to learn what it is. So it's good to shed some light on that.
I watched
Nay,
a
shed a dimension.
documentary by a gentleman named Brian Greene, called, was it This Elegant Universe?
Is it
And
Brian Austin Green?
I don't think so.
Sorry.
And although it wasn't a PhD, I watched it and like to pretend now I have a PhD because it's very
Yes,
sophisticated.
yes, we have a very in one of the dimensions our PhD exists.
Yes, exactly.
If that's how that works.
Somewhere out there, I have it posted on my Facebook and MySpace. PhD.
Somewhere near MySpace, there's a PhD with a new song.
With a new song, a better song
All
that's
right.
more scientific. So
Well, this
yeah,
is
they
all.
make fun of each other's boards, talk about the dimensions, and
They
Penny sits
introduce
down.
Sheldon Spot.
Yes, the spot.
It is the perfect location, warm in the winter, cool in the summer. You could see the TV without glare, and you're in the center in the group, as to not alienate conversation.
It's perfect, and
Everybody has a perfect spot.
she says she will move, but Leonard said, no, Sheldon, just find somewhere else. And so he goes on a little adventure around the room, and nothing's as good.
Nope. Nothing is as good as his spot.
But we laugh at this, but we kind of do it. I have my spot on my couch because, well, I feel like at this point it has my imprint in it. And when people come over and sit in it, I'm like, that's awkward.
You're ruining my spot.
You're ruining my spot. I wouldn't let you wear my underwear. Why would I let you sit in my spot?
You gotta call permanent dibs on that spot.
Seriously. Or it's like if you have a partner and they take your spot or your side of the bed, right?
Yeah,
It gets
that's true.
awkward. It's like that's my side of the bed.
It just feels weird. It's like the step all over again.
It's
Like
the step.
you're expecting something, and then
You spent so many years of your life ingraining this expectation of where you sit, where you sleep, and then it throws you off and you trip. Except tripping is actually just falling apart for a day and having a mental breakdown.
so then they have some awkward banter. They mention Klingon Boggle.
Oh
Penny talks
yeah,
about her astrology sign.
I like that, and she says that she's a Sagittarius, right?
Yep.
And they go, "That's surprising," and she goes, "I know. People usually think I'm a water sign." So I'm interested in kind of doing some character study on Penny and see if she's a
If
water
she
sign.
matches,
Yeah, if she's a Sagittarius or what.
do you believe?
Oh, not at all, but it's fun to talk about.
It's really fun to talk about, and it's a little scary. Like when you combine your astrology sign with like the year that you're born,
Uh-huh.
like like in like in Asian cultures, they have like the lunar calendar and everything like that. So every year you're a certain animal, and that
Mhm.
animal associates to your personality, just like an astrology sign. So
Yeah.
there are ways to kind of combine them. Like I am a Gemini ox, and then there are certain like descriptions on you, and it is like I don't believe in it, but it is so spot on to the point that it's like, holy shit. Like
I,
you're reading my soul right now. Oh my god.
How did you know what my song was? You had it written down. I'm actually an Aquarius rat.
You would
And
be.
am I right? Dirty,
Not that
dirty
I know
one.
what any of those mean.
The Aquarius, like I'm like, it's a joke, but they're really big on kind of being chaotic and unpredictable. I'm like, no, that's not me. I'm very predictable. No,
Yeah.
nobody has any idea what's going to come out of my mouth or what I'm going to do. So I'm like, yeah, maybe.
So one of the best lines of the entire episode is Penny telling everyone that she is a vegetarian, except for steak. I love
I
steak.
love steak.
God, I love that line so much.
I'm vegetarian except for steak.
Then we also learn that Leonard is lactose intolerant, which will come back over and over again.
Because she's a waitress at the Cheesecake Factory, right?
Yep, the good
And,
old Cheesecake
Cheesecake
Factory.
and apparently Leonard loves the idea of cheesecake. Although he's allergic or lactose intolerant, there is a difference. That he likes the idea of what cheesecake is.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I feel about Sting. I
Yeah.
don't listen to his music, but the fact that he makes it, I respect that.
I appreciate him being him. There's got to be a Sting, and he's the best Sting there could be.
Yeah. Whether it's the singer or the old school wrestler.
Yeah.
And then Penny goes on to have a huge breakdown in front of two complete strangers.
Yeah. Before that, I made a note that with her background, it comes out that she's from Omaha.
No,
Nebraska.
Yep.
Yeah. And they joke about her being from Lincoln. And, I lived in Nebraska for a while, and really everything was so spread out that Omaha and Lincoln were basically the same city. It's like, quickly growing into each other. But it reminded me of Full House with Aunt Becky being from Nebraska. So like I immediately had this connection, like, oh, these tropes sound familiar, and I'm comfortable with it.
Okay.
But then she goes on to have the breakdown.
I've bought Omaha steaks before.
I love
They are
steaks.
quite I love steak.
I'm vegetarian except for steaks.
The good old Omaha steaks. So then Sheldon has a great little line. It took you 4 years to get through high school?
Yeah.
Me too. I'm with you, Penny.
And, and I feel like high school's kind of set up that way. Most education programs that the people who graduate early that I've met are typically homeschooled. That the system is set up not to really work with what are they outliers, right? But what we do get these days is the honors programs and AP programs that offer college credits. So by the time you graduate high school, you're going in with like a year of college under your belt or something.
Interesting.
Um, yeah.
Not to
And
deviate, but it kind of reminds me of like just life in general and the work in general.
mhm.
Are you familiar with Tim Ferriss? 4 hour work week.
I don't think
It
so.
it's a very famous book. He has like a podcast now too, and everything. He's had a podcast for a really long time. But the premise of the book is that it doesn't really take in most jobs, at least like salary jobs, it doesn't take you 40 hours to complete that job. So there are ways to like the 40-hour work week, just like school, how it's so many years. It's a structure that was built to kind of like not necessarily prolong things, but it's like it was just basically just a man-made structure.
Yeah, to set it up and control it, and make it work to the best, what consistency, right? The way we can keep things consistent.
Yeah, so anybody out there, I definitely recommend that book. I don't remember all of it, but I remember the important stuff. Just like any book.
Yeah, all the important stuff, which was
Yeah, did I
nothing at
mention I don't
all.
have a PhD?
In fact, I don't even know how to read. I just looked at the cover.
Yeah. I do audiobooks.
Audiobooks. So,
So that I'll let you go.
I was
Take
just
us away.
gonna say, Sheldon says it took her 4 years, and they get
He jumps
into
back into his spot. First thing he
yeah,
does is he jumps back in the spot.
as soon as he can. And she asks if she can take a shower because hers is broken.
Mm-hmm.
And as socially awkward as I am, I'm like, asking and talking about the laxative lunch they're going to have. I feel like asking to take a shower is above and beyond that.
Yep. But of course, they have to drive the storyline.
Mm-hmm. Ups the
And
ante.
yep. And also, Sheldon continues to be the only voice of reason that he says, yes, it is still weird that you're in love with Kurt. And yes, it's weird for her to use the shower of people
Yes,
that she
it
just
is
met.
weird.
But, anyways, storyline.
And they talk about how it's going to be the first woman naked in their apartment, except for, was it Leonard's grandma?
Yep. Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Yep. So that means that they hosted Thanksgiving then, which feels a little awkward. Like, really, you two were hosts for Thanksgiving?
How'd that go down?
Yeah.
That gets me excited. I love holiday episodes, so I wonder.
Oh my god, I'd love to see that. I love a holiday episode too. But, all right, she's in the shower now, and enter Howard and Raj,
Yes.
where they want to show everyone a video of Stephen King with his original voice. And then they continuously use the word coitus.
Coitus, yes. Picked up on the coitus. Do you want to have coitus? Are you going to have coitus with her? So you don't mind if I coitus with her?
Like, oh my god, who talks like that?
Quit using the word coitus. I think I used it in a poem in grad school once, and somebody called me out and they're like, don't use that word. I'm like, but it rhymes.
I mean, it's a slam poetry right here from my.
I'm about to show you some coitus. Don't tell me when my poem doesn't work.
You just don't understand art.
Yeah.
So then she runs out in her towel, still, always awkward. And then Howard talks about his job at Caltech. Everybody there is at Caltech.
He's working on like satellites and stuff, right?
Yes, he's working on something that's currently orbiting Jupiter.
Jupiter. And Penny has no
Yep.
idea what he's talking about. Like,
Yeah,
okay.
because she just works at the Cheesecake Factory,
Cheesecake.
all
I also
bright.
like I made note that in most shows they like pop open a beer on this point, and they all popped open like orange sodas.
Orange soda, yeah, I
Orange
know. I made a
sodas.
note of that too. Like, yeah, orange soda. They don't drink alcohol. Nerds. Ugh.
Nerds. And then they this is she runs out in the towel and asks for the favor.
The
The
favor.
favor.
So, oh my god.
And I love this favor too because these days we have thin screen LCD, LED, ultra LED TVs that are thin, large, and light, but they look like they're still using CRT TVs at this point.
Yeah, I saw them. I saw their TV. It made me wonder what Penny's TV was and why she couldn't just buy a new one.
Yeah.
Like, dude, just buy a new
Just
one.
I don't know if the Cheesecake Factory's paying her enough to get new TVs though.
Well, not really much of a spoiler, but you'll understand how little she gets tipped.
Oh. I look forward to that. I love talking
Yep.
about tips.
And this was also the first mention of Joyce Kim. Apparently Leonard's last flame.
Oh yeah.
And
And
she was where she was defected to North Korea.
defected to North Korea. And he says because he broke her heart, right? She was too
Yep.
sad.
What a heartbreaker. She had to leave the country and go to North Korea.
So,
And,
I'm interested in hearing if she comes back. I'm reminded of Friends where Phoebe's fleeing, who actually is the guy who does many of the voices for Simpsons. I forget his name.
Hank Azaria.
Yeah.
Yep. The
He
character's name was David. Yeah, he went to Russia.
he goes to Russia, right?
Yep.
So these flames are just going all over the world.
All over the world.
Gotta get away.
Well, speaking of worldly and ethnic people, Penny has an interaction with Raj where he can't speak to women. And then there's I don't know how I feel about this these days, but the whole like questioning of if he could speak English because he's quiet and he's ethnic. So I know it's for the joke, but at the same time, it's like sometimes I feel like where I'm at, people wonder that about me when they
Mm-hmm.
just see that. So
They
it's
make
like,
the assumption.
yeah, I just don't know how I feel about that these days. But it works in the context of the show.
I was thinking of when I went to Iceland, people would come up and just start talking to me and in Icelandic, and I felt horrible. I'm like, I'm sorry, all I know is English.
Oh, with a beard like that, how could they not think that?
Right? That's what I was thinking. It's the beard. I could pull off being
Yeah.
being a Viking, right?
Have you seen these muscles? Oh, speaking of like Vikings, like I'm gonna deviate, but how fucking great does the Northman look?
I
Did
think
you
it
see that
looks
preview?
good. It looks
Holy
good.
shit, that looks good.
Hmm.
But anyways,
Anyways, Vikings.
yeah.
So yeah, Raja, and I feel like I connect with him one of the most. That not being able to talk to girls or being like so awkward that you just kind of sit, and when somebody talks to you, just turn away. Like no, I don't know what to say. I can't talk.
I don't know what to do.
Drink my soda and be
Yeah.
quiet.
And then Howard comes in, so charismatic. Juice box.
Juice box.
So classy.
He
I
throws in
love
there.
how I love Howard's character, but he's like one of the sources of the most controversy of like
Oh.
this show and everything. But we'll get more into that later. But I love how unaware he is about
Mhm.
how lame he really is.
Well, he speaks several different languages and knows how to say "good shower."
Yes, and that's another thing that we'll get into it more because I don't want to spoil anything. But like Howard is so talented. Like if you like break down each character, he's like so talented. He speaks multiple languages. He's very musical. He sings. He can play instruments. Well, he doesn't have a PhD, so but he has a master's,
He has some masters.
and that will kick him in the ass several times.
Oh.
But he does have a lot going for him. But we'll go more into that later.
So Sheldon and Leonard go to get the TV, and they end
Yep.
up at the apartment complex on the other side of town, and they are stuck because they can't get in. The door's locked,
Yep.
and it
A
takes a
I was going to say a classic illustration of how book smarts doesn't always equal street smarts.
yeah. It takes
Where,
a Girl Scout to show them what to do.
yep, you press all the buttons. And I will say, in my college days, I've done that before. Because sometimes it's like, I need to get in, it's cold, and my friend isn't answering. Just start pressing all of them.
I was gonna say, my
Someone's
college
bound to
days,
let me in.
there are just so many people hanging out or like going in and out that you just stand there for a while and somebody walk in and say, "Oh, I forgot my key," and walk in with them. Like, this completely defeats the purpose of security gates like that. But
Yep.
whatever.
Unless you want to be that person that's like, whoa, what's your apartment number?
Yeah, I'm
It's
not
kind of like
letting you.
it's kind of like at my work how we have to flash like a little card, like we have our ID card and that acts as our key too because you scan it. Some people don't always have it, they forget it, they follow you in. Are you going to be that weirdo that actually says, hold on, let me see your card?
You seem to be holding a lot of sharp objects. I don't know if we should let you in here.
Well, if my work is listening, I do that.
I check it every time.
I always ask.
Sir, you seem to be
Anyways.
bringing a chainsaw in here, and you have a hockey mask on. Why? Do you work here? Okay.
Show me your MySpace page.
Show me it. Does Tom know you?
All right, well, they have a combined IQ of 360, which got me to look at the average person's IQ. Average IQ is between 85 and 115. So that means amongst both of them, assuming it's split equally and they're equally smart, or, they're of the same level, that's 180 points each.
Jeez.
Well, both of them are well above average.
Have you ever taken an IQ test?
I don't want to talk about it.
No, I've never taken one, partially because I'm scared. So before I take it, it's like, well, it could be great, it could be terrible, so I can just assume one way or another and pretend.
I have, and it did not go well.
Oh, no.
I will.
The result was no PhD.
Let's leave it at I don't have a PhD.
This isn't even a number. This is just no PhD.
All right, so then the guys meet Kurt.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He is a big man.
He's a
Holy
big man.
shit. So my big question is, they leave without their pants. How did Kurt actually get their pants? Did he actually physically assault them, or did he ask them kindly to remove their pants?
In my mind, he asked them not so kindly, but it was a, guys, I'm going to need you to leave your pants here type thing.
You need to leave and leave your pants.
Yeah. Not only are you going to not get the TV, but I'm taking your pants. Now, what he wants to do with those pants, that's a good question.
Oh, poor Sheldon.
Poor
His
Sheldon.
mother gave him those pants.
Yes.
Which
Did
were
you
such
notice
an
too
eyesore.
that Sheldon's wearing whitey tighties and Leonard's wearing boxers? I feel like that
Yep.
says a lot about their characters.
Yeah.
Whatever underwear. We have astrological signs. We have the Myers-Briggs, but we also have your underwear sign.
All right. What do whitey tidies tell you? What has your PhD told you?
What is the PhD? What year is your PhD?
All right. So then they do the walk of shame. They're going up the stairs. They have no pants. Leonard finally admits to Sheldon that he is interested in Penny.
finally admits it. He says,
He was denying
maybe.
it for a while.
Mm-hmm. And they walk in. Howard is trying to get Penny to play Warcraft, right?
I'm guessing that's World of War. I made it a specific goal in my life to not play World of Warcraft because
I,
I've seen it. I've literally seen it destroy a life.
I've
Like,
I have a hard time investing into a monthly fee for one game because I'm Aquarius and I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. So paying, 10, 15, $20 for one game subscription a month, I'm like, that's too much commitment. I'm not a committing type of guy.
yeah, man, I'm inviting you to play a game with me, and you always out with your friends.
My
Look who
friends.
has friends. Ryan, Mr. Popular.
I don't know how to talk to any of them, but I show up.
And I'm playing a game by myself. But whatever.
Whatever.
I'm not bitter. But yeah, I'm guessing it's World of Warcraft.
That's my and he's trying to talk her into going on a date with him on World of Warcraft. We can go to the bar or something.
Yeah. And then Penny feels bad that they were assaulted by Kurt, that she wants to buy them dinner.
Yeah.
And Leonard, oh, Leonard, our babies will be smart and beautiful.
It's gonna happen. So he's hopeful. And then the end scene is they are driving to dinner, right?
Yep, and Howard continuously tries to flirt with Penny because in his mind, she's fair game
She's fair game.
at this point.
And I noticed, I love it when actors and characters have a good connection when they're on the show, and you can tell he starts singing, and she has to fight laughing. She turns her head from the camera because she's stifling a legitimate laugh. And I'm like, I respect that when actors can make other actors laugh. That means I'm in for a treat. That I'm going to see some legitimately funny and unexpected stuff.
Yeah, I really like seeing that too because I feel like in the old sitcoms, they were, even though it was a comedy, they try really hard to not laugh because apparently their funny conversation to an audience is supposed to be a serious conversation for them.
Uh huh.
But they're a friend group. Why aren't they joking around together more? Like, I think back to like watching Friends over and over again. They don't really laugh together very much.
This.
Whereas in How I Met Your Mother, they're always goofing off, having fun, laughing at each other. Like they would laugh, and that's normal for a friend group.
Mm-hmm. I'm thinking with Friends, Chandler being sarcastic, and I loved his sense of humor growing up. And it's like nobody ever laughs; they just look at him like, "Why do you bother talking?
Yeah, why are you talking right
Why are
now?
you talking?" And with other sitcoms, Frasier, even going back to Cheers, I don't remember people like breaking down laughing or goofing off with each other. It's always, like you said, kind of, oh, we're serious and we're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Although they're filmed in front of the live audience and they have the laugh tracks playing, so we know we're supposed to laugh even if
Yeah.
the characters are not laughing.
Don't you tell me when to laugh.
I will
only,
decide for myself when to laugh.
only my friend Tom can tell me that.
Yeah, Tom. I trust Tom to tell me. And he says not to laugh.
You stop laughing now.
Stop laughing.
All right, we did it.
We
First
did it.
episode down.
First episode.
That was it.
It went
What'd
pretty
you think of
smooth.
it?
I liked it. I went smoothly. I think it went
Yeah.
pretty smoothly.
Yeah,
Except
you
for,
think you could do 278 more episodes?
oh, I think I have to.
All right. So, overall thoughts?
Uh,
Kind of talked about that. Well, I'm looking at my notes, everyone. Sorry. This is the only time I'm kind of a nerd, constant note taker.
so I have my notebook over here. I'm like scanning through it. The thing is, I'm doing handwritten notes and I can't read my handwriting. So I'm kind of
Handwritten
guessing.
note. What kind of savage are you?
It's horrible. It's horrible.
I,
I have no dexterity.
I am a modern millennial. I don't even know how to handwrite anymore.
Like I was born. I'm what they call ambidextrous, like true ambidextrous. That I write with my left hand, but there's theories I probably should have learned to write with my right, and so I have strength and coordination in my right hand to throw balls and stuff, and I don't know, I can cut with my right. But when it comes to fine motor skills, I write with my left. And what this does is makes me totally horrible at everything. Bad at writing, bad at throwing balls, and yeah,
Have you ever tried to write with your right hand?
yes, and it is worse than my left, but marginally worse, not not significantly worse.
Well, enter the digital world. Start typing that shit out.
That's digital and voice recognition. Let's just
Oh yeah, I
dictate it,
know.
right?
Oh my god, I was talking to one of my coworkers, and like her kid is in like middle school, and like she was like kind of just like wandering around the house, and she heard her son just kind of talking and everything like that. She was like, "Wait, is he on the phone? Is somebody in there? What's going on?" So she went to check in on him, and he got mad because she interrupted him while he was writing his essay. He was doing a voice translator thing. So he was just
Ah,
talking into the microphone and it was just typing it out for him.
that
It's like,
is.
God, kids aren't gonna know how to handwrite things.
I'm thinking. My dad had a job where back in the '90s he had what was called a dictaphone. It was like a phone you picked up and you talked into it and it would record what you were saying, and then his secretary would type it up for him
So it would be like a recording, and then she would get the recording, and then
and type it
she would
up.
just type it
Yeah.
up.
So it was like she was the text dictation software. I'm like, wow, that's a boring job, but I bet it's more accurate than what we get
I,
with our
I
dictation
feel like that's
software.
like 95% of my job is to sit at meetings and type up notes.
Ah,
Oh my god, I'm doing that.
that's me. I am an app.
God, don't tell them that. They'll just replace me instantly.
There's software that can do this? No,
No,
no.
no. Oh my god, there was an episode on Parks and Rec. Did you ever watch Parks and Rec?
I did, actually recently, like a year ago.
All of it?
Yeah, I started
Uh,
with my dad, and it took us a good year or two to watch the
yeah.
whole thing. But
So great. We'll have to do that one after. But Tom, oddly enough, it was a guy named Tom in that,
Tom-
where he was in one of the episodes, he got replaced by an app. It does X, Y, and Z. He's like, what? That's my entire job.
what are your thoughts? Did it go smoothly for you?
I thought this first episode went very well. I'm really looking forward to rewatching all this. Like I said, I really like this show. I identify with like a lot of the characters. I feel like there really isn't one in particular that I truly identify with. It's more of like little pieces of each of them kind of
Mm-hmm.
make up who I am. And I grew up kind of feeling like an outcast, like them. So I totally understand their life and like who they are and like how they try to get through and like how they try to interact with people too, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
all that good stuff and like the nerdy things on top of it too. Like I finally feel like it's socially acceptable to have a conversation with someone about like comic books.
Yeah. Or to realize, people say goofy things, and you're talking about laxative when you're inviting somebody over for lunch.
And that's something that I really like. This isn't necessarily the like a fish out of water story, but it kind of is.
Mm,
And that's something I love watching movies and shows where it's a fish out of water, where it's somebody that's out of their element and they're trying to learn how to operate in that environment.
mm-hmm.
And that's what this is like Leonard is trying to like act as normal as possible around Penny.
He has motivation to try to be the most socially acceptable version of himself that he
Yes.
can. Yeah.
And Sheldon's just off being Sheldon. Howard has a great story arc. Raj, I don't want to spoil it too much, but so
I'm
I'm not gonna
curious
say
where we're
anything.
going with him because he like didn't say a word. So,
I'm just gonna say he's been the most disappointing story arc in a character that I've ever seen, and
aw,
it's very frustrating that that's what they did with the ethnic character.
mm. We're gonna have
And
to keep notes on that because I can see, as this is over 10 years old, times change, and I think writers start to understand. Oh, we are falling to this trope, this stereotype. But 2007 is recent enough that you would think that they would not have allowed that to happen.
yeah,
So, I'm
well,
thinking,
even nowadays, they're really like, I'm not trying to make this political, but like there really aren't a lot of Asian American or just Asian characters,
uh
let
huh,
alone a main character. I mean, yay for us, we got Shang-Chi in the Marvel stuff, but
yeah,
then it's like, if you look at any sitcom, it's like, where are the Asian characters?
mm-hmm.
There's an Asian character in How I Met Your Father. I just started watching that, but then I quickly dropped it because it's a fucking terrible show.
I was not
Sorry for
connecting
any
with
fans out there, but it was
it.
just like I couldn't. It's I just can't.
I tried. And How I Met Your Mother it took me a couple episodes to get into, and eventually I did. I love it, but I've given How I Met Your Father 6 episodes. I'm still kind of like,
The humor is very different
yeah.
from, and the storytelling in general is very different from How I Met Your Mother.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it kind of throws you off a little bit. So then you kind of take yourself out of that and try not to compare them. And then
Mm.
just on its own, I don't, it
It
just doesn't work.
doesn't hold the water that you're expecting it to.
Yeah.
Oh.
But this is a Big Bang Theory
Yeah.
podcast, not an other TV show podcast. We'll save that for another time. All right.
All right.
So chalk this one down. Feeling good.
Yeah.
Any other things that you wanted to talk about? Anything you missed? Anything that I
I think we
missed?
covered everything I was thinking of.
Yeah.
I got that.
First episode down. So I guess
Woohoo!
we'll see everybody next time for episode 2, the
Episode
Big
2.
Brand Hypothesis.
Here we come.
All right. We'll have to think of a fun outro at some point. But until
Yeah.
then, thanks for listening, and we'll see everybody